Hello, ladies and gents, Hagbard Salid here, and I have a good one for you today. I'm going to title this one Intersectional Regurgitation, because indeed, the original feminist regurgitation was taken down, and I'm kinda hoping that this one will stand in its place. I'm gonna keep it short and just start it rolling. I hope you have fun. Oh, come on, fuck that, that isn't even fair.
I feel like I get so off track when I say these things. I just can't even focus very well. I start rambling.
Well, we're off to a strong start now, aren't we? Maybe if you laid off the Xanax, you'd be able to think straight.
Rabbling.
It's rambling or babbling. Get it straight. This is one of the major problems with women of my generation and younger. They think it's endearing to be stupid. And then they want to go on and profess that they have a profound knowledge when it comes to sociology. I sincerely doubt it.
What the hell? Why do I look so ugly?
Why did you leave this shit in here?
Help me.
And we have feminism in a nutshell, ladies and gentlemen.
Help me.
Help me, help me, help me, help me.
Oh, we know, dear. It's what you're gonna say through the whole video and what you make us feel like saying all the time.
Why? I'm a good person.
Oh, dear. No one's explained to you that all villains think they're doing the right thing, have they?
So, I wanted to do a quick talk on intersectionality.
Oh God, please, no, let me out of here. Let me out of here. Come back, Hagbard. We're barely a minute in. Oh, fine, I'll come back, but I'm bringing a drink this time.
I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I'm fucking bell hooks or some shit, because at the end of the day, I really don't know what I'm talking about. I'm kind of just interpreting what I've heard and what I've read and kind of spewing it back out.
To my audience, and anyone else watching that's familiar with this, that does not surprise us at all. Now we have but one question to answer. Why are you sitting here and doing it in the first place?
So, to begin with, intersectionality is basically, or intersectional theory is basically...
What it is basically is it's basically a system by which one measures the value of oppression due to sex, skin color, or any other unchangeable attribute one was born with. Then, once these values have been assigned, it is the job of intersectionality to define who gets the power. It's Marxism.
Just acknowledging the social identities that intersect, and then kind of affect oppression. So it recognizes things like gender, race, social class, and how those things basically determine your level of oppression, I guess.
Yeah, what I said.
Or the fact that oppression isn't just a one-size-fits-all thing.
Of course not. Don't be silly. Who has ever heard of an oppression muumuu or oppression coveralls?
And I think a lot of people don't even know that intersectionality is a thing, much less recognize that oppression is like a sliding scale. There are levels to oppression.
Yes, and I do look forward to the day when the actual Oppression Olympics takes place on national television. Frankly, we can't possibly be that far out.
The oppression that a queer, disabled, black trans woman faces.
Why is that always the example, and how do you think that makes queer, transgender, black people that are handicapped feel exactly? To be told that essentially they're at the bottom of the stack. Perhaps that's not psychologically the direction in which we would want these people to go.
Is not the same as a cis, heterosexual, able-bodied, upper-middle-class white woman. They're going to have wildly different experiences. They have completely different lives, and the things that they face that oppress them are wildly different.
I do find it interesting that in your example, to make your point, you actually had to bring the one system of oppression up. i.e., you never dictated the class standing. of the black woman. However, you did feel the need to stipulate that the white woman was middle class. Very interesting. I'm sure that there are no lower class white women out there.
And while they're each valid, they're not really comparable.
So basically, we're back to some pigs are more equal to others then. It's valid, but not as valid. That's how that sentence should have read, if you were being honest.
I think in 2014, 2015, a lot of people kind of not woke up, but had their eyes opened to the levels of oppression that we kind of just blindly accepted.
2014 and 2015. I wonder why it came to the forefront there. I'm sure it's just a coincidence that it completely coincides with the rise and media coverage of the Black Lives Matter and the rampant lies they spread. But I'm sure that's completely unrelated to your points, right?
And I think for a lot of people, it was kind of shocking to realize that little things that they've experienced in their life that just made them uncomfortable, maybe because they were microaggressions or...
You guys see absolutely no irony in using a phrase like microaggressions and then expecting to be taken seriously. A microaggression doesn't even sound serious.
Just made them feel like they were less than are actually modes of oppression.
So, when other races attempt to make white people feel less than, is that or is that not a mode of oppression, sweetheart?
And that these are actual things that they have a right to be upset about and that are institutionalized and systematic.
I'm sorry, this is going to be blatant theft and a big nod to one of my favorite YouTubers, but... Citation needed.
That they're not just like, one person was mean to you, or like, this person doesn't like black people because a black person was mean to him one time. That's not how it works.
Well, then you don't understand how, on more frequent occasions than not, that's exactly how that works. For every race and every gender.
And at the same time, a lot of people have had to be confronted with their privilege. I know I have, realizing that oppression is a real and valid thing in, modern day.
You intersectionally obsessed fuckwits constantly make statements like this with absolutely no evidence. And by using the word oppression, you are doing harm and disservice to those actually oppressed. Stop it.
Is kind of shocking. And then on top of that, recognizing your privilege, even within that oppression, is like, it's jarring.
It can be jarring to be boldly lied to and then be told that your mere existence as a human being makes you an oppressor. This would be jarring news to anyone. And I'm glad that in this shot you were looking down like you're ashamed, because you should be.
Yeah, so for a lot of people, these past 2 years have been kind of eye-opening, and there's been a lot to take in.
Oh, you're very right. It has been eye-opening, and there has been a lot to take in. However, I don't think that you've gotten the message you're hoping you've gotten across. The rise of the alt-right would perhaps tell you that what you're doing is non-functional fucking behavior, but instead, you're sitting around, still making asses of yourselves, pushing people further and further into going, well, if they're gonna be racist, give me one good goddamn reason I shouldn't be. You're doing this to yourself because you want to be oppressed. So you're creating oppressors. Congratulations.
So I kind of just wanted to introduce to some people who haven't heard of it maybe.
Why are you pretending like this is new? Why are you pretending like this isn't all over the goddamn internet and all over fucking cable TV? Why are you guys still play acting like you're not part of the mainstream? We have a female presidential candidate who's running on her vagina, and you're gonna tell me that we need more feminism in the West. Okay.
The concept of intersectionality. I think a lot of us who have been kind of entrenched in the activist feminist, race theory, gender theory circles.
So somewhere in there, you know you're living in an ideological echo chamber. It's not going to translate well once you leave that echo chamber. Get used to it.
Forget that other people don't really have or might not have access to the same things that we do.
What do you mean, the internet, or specifically Tumblr? Because absolutely everything about intersectionality can quite easily be found by searching on the internet.
Where we've learned our shit, where we're reading papers, where a lot of us are going to university.
Oh, good. Hopefully to study something meritocratal based, programming, medicine, anything in the STEM. Oh, I hope so. Either way, I do quite love how you're checking your own privilege through that.
And able to study Black studies in school, and Native studies and gender studies.
Oh, so you're inherently part of the problem and contributing quite greatly to the wage gap, because none of those things have applications to the future, dear.
And we have access to all this information that a lot of people don't, or they've just started out learning about these things, and they have no idea what to even look for.
Oh, come now, dear. It's not fucking theological studies. You're not translating from ancient Greek or something. It's a couple of short books by some shitty feminist authors.
I think it's our duty as people who have been in this, at least for a touch longer, to reach out to these people and be like, hey, dude, let me be the first to show you this thing that you might not have heard of yet, and then you can kind of go from there.
Yeah, traditionally we call that conversion, proselytization. So what you're telling me is you're an evangelical, intersectional feminist.
I think that a lot of people are uncomfortable with this idea. The most oppressed of us like it.
Holy shit, did she just say that?
The most oppressed of us like it.
That's what we've been saying all along.
Because it's nice to hear that people are going to recognize that your experience is different than somebody else's experience who has more privilege than you.
So in short, you're a special snowflake, and you want to be recognized as being such a special snowflake. Okay.
Yeah, it's like just because you've had a hard life, and that is entirely valid, that doesn't negate the fact that you may benefit from certain privileges.
Explain to me the privileges inherent in a white construction worker living in the trailer park, please.
If you are a white, cis, heterosexual person living a middle-class lifestyle,
I believe in this video I have found the root of the problem. They believe that all, or even most, white people live middle or upper middle class lifestyles. That's hilarious. That's really hilarious. It's really racist and shitty, but it's really hilarious. I only say that because subconsciously in both of her examples she knew she had to say middle class to make her example work. Because otherwise, she's talking shit.
You're doing pretty well and probably better than a lot of people. And that's not to say that you don't face hardships. I know a lot of people have problems, accepting that fact that you can benefit from privileges while also having a hard life, because the word privilege makes you think that everything is good and dandy. But no, it just means that within certain systematic social systems, that's a lot of S's, that certain things are afforded to you that aren't afforded to other people.
And I am absolutely certain that the following list you're about to give us is going to be applicable to all white people, up to and including the construction worker in the trailer park I mentioned, and specifically, let's say, a white homeless man. And go.
For example, white people make more money than people of color.
Only by the widest statistical margins you fuckers can come up with, and only because they tend to go to college more frequently. Not inherently because they have more money. I know most of my white friends are eyeballs deep in debt. The reason is because their whole families wildly insisted upon it. Something that the black aunts and uncles I have didn't do with their nieces and nephews, you see.
White people are given the benefit of the doubt when they commit a crime.
Just nope. I mean, there's nothing else you can even say to a ridiculously broad and underminable statement like that. Just nope.
There's a lot of things that are ingrained into us and as a society that we're not realizing are happening.
Oh, there's something we can agree on, however, in this, you're the problem.
Except for those people who are being oppressed by those systems. Those people know. The other people who are silently benefiting from their privilege just think that's the way the world is. And so when someone confronts them with the fact that this is actually something they're benefiting from, they feel frustrated and angry and invalidated for any pain they themselves experience.
You are very correct, dear. People do know when they're being oppressed. That's why men's rights movements are popping up. That's why whenever I approach a woman about her privilege, she gets very angry and feels invalidated. As do some black people when I explain to them some of their privileges and the things that are given to them by their society that aren't given to me. However, I would never have brought any of this up. This is a conversation you have started.
Nobody's trying to take away from your pain. No one's invalidating your suffering on an individual level or even on a social level.
Ha! Nice cut.
Nobody's trying to take away from your pain. No one's invalidating your suffering on an individual level or even on a social level.
You couldn't even keep it together for that one sentence because you know what utter and complete bullshit you're talking.
For example, white women. White feminism is one thing that a lot of us women of color have a giant issue with because it's not intersectional at all.
You mean it's not all about you. It's about women in general, and that's just not good enough for you because you're a racist.
It's this giant box that all women are expected to fit in without recognizing that within this one group, there are a million different tiny groups, and those groups have different life experiences than the rest.
I wholly invite you to enjoy your intersectional autism in private. However, I would prefer you not spread this brain virus to other people. That is entirely too crazy.
I'm not moving through the world the same as a white woman.
Well, that is by no means what your surroundings, speech patterns, tattoos, and style of dress say about you. But, you know, whatever.
I'm not moving through the world the same as a dark-skinned woman. It just is. Colorism is a real thing. Racism is a real thing. Classism is a real thing.
While I think the classism comment comes entirely from the fact that you're quite clearly upper middle class, I think your obsession with the fact that skin tone varies throughout races, I would say that that comes from the fact that you don't feel personally represented by any vernacular. Would you prefer we adopt the South African terminology for people of lighter skin? Would you like people of color or colored person? That's what they use in South Africa. They have a word for it.
Denying that these things exist, it doesn't really help anyone. It just feeds a delusion that is oppressing other people. And I can't understand the need to uphold a system that actively hurts people and actively oppresses them.
This is my other problem with you pseudo-intellectual, half-educated assholes. What precisely do you mean when you say system? Were you to be capable of pointing out to me the system that allows all this to happen, I would perhaps be on your side. But what you're talking about is the amorphic patterns of human behavior. How do you exactly train that out of the entire human species, and why exactly does it have to start here? Not so concerned about dealing with the black-on-white racism in South Africa, are you? Not quite concerned with dealing with the Arab-on-black racism that exists in the Middle East, are you? No, you're worried about oppression in the fucking West. I don't know why, but you are. Our oppression is significantly less if it exists by your definitions at all. And yet here is the place to start, eh?
You're blind and it hasn't been made known to you, or if you've just heard of it and you don't give two shits, that's fine. You're a bad person. I don't care.
Ah, there's that absolutely scrumptiously cunty moral superiority I've grown so fond of. Yet another reason people classify your ideology as a religion, dear. Because only before, in something like Christianity, would someone have the gall to say, I have presented you with an idea. If you question it, or once presented with it, disagree with the premise, you're a sinner. You're just a bad person. Fuck you.
But if you've just never heard of it and this is the first time, I would ask that you
bow your head and pray to Jesus and accept him as your Lord and personal Savior. That's the only way. That's the only way.
kind of just check your privilege at the door. Take a minute to recognize that this sounds so harsh, but not everything is about you.
Oh, that's right. Fuck, I forgot it was all about you. Oh, stupid me.
Not everything is about the things that you've suffered. Sometimes you kind of just have to lay those aside for a second and listen to the experiences of people who may have suffered more than you have.
Oh, so we're back to the Oppression Olympics.
We're not saying this is the Oppression Olympics.
Oh, well, I'm so sorry. My apologies.
We're not saying you're saying I can't feel my pain because somebody's had it worse than me.
You condescending little cunt. How fucking dare you? I mean, how the fuck would you feel if I decided to just come off with, oh, here's another one of them there black women's wanting their gimmaboos? That's basically what you just did. How exactly are you supposed to be gaining my support with that, idiot?
No one's saying that. We all accept that your pain is valid. We accept that, it fucking sucks to get paid 78 cents to the dollar of a white man if you're a white woman.
No, honestly, anybody watching this, we've seen quite a bit of these types of people, but is she not the most condescending human being we've had on here? I mean, for someone with no credentials, no reason to think they're superior, some people I've seen on here, at least they have a large-scale degree to back their name. They've written several books. No, this is just some bitch on the internet. And she has the nerve to talk down to people in her shit video. Amazing.
But in that same breath, you need to recognize that black women are paid, 62 cents to the man's dollar. Latinx women are paid 58 cents. Native women are paid fucking 45 cents.
There is no national fucking racially based wage. These women earn what the fuck they earn. They're not given jack shit. Stop using shitty terminology like they're just... No, they earn it. They earn it at low-wage jobs. Latino women, because a large portion of them are first or second generation immigrants, which have always worked low-end jobs. Natives, because most of them don't leave the res. That's not our fault.
You have to recognize that oppression doesn't just stop at you and your problems. It goes further than that, and it can go a lot deeper. It doesn't take away from your pain to recognize the pain of someone else. And if you think it does, then you need to stop calling yourself a feminist. You definitely need to stop calling yourself an ally. And preferably, you need to just back out of the conversation, maybe listen a little bit, and then maybe come back with some fresh ideas.
That's funny, because after I did all that and then came in with some fresh ideas, all I was called was a sexist or a bigot. Because when I came back with fresh ideas that didn't match the group, I was ostracized. That's what your group does, dear.
Oh, and not to mention that these rates are American rates. This is not even including women in other countries outside of Europe and North America. I'm not even gonna say fucking third world because that is classist and racist as hell. I think we should all make a fucking petition to stop saying the word third world. It's disgusting.
How's about you and I make a little pact, honey? You see how you told me to do something and I explained to you that I have? How about, to back up what you're saying, you go to a third world country and then explain to me why we shouldn't call it the third world? We're going to skip a bit because she goes on to repeat herself for about a minute and a half. And stop.
I'm hoping that when people bring up topics like this in a very informal way and kind of just like shooting it out there and hoping that something sparks in someone.
Yeah, you got a spark from me, but I don't think that's what you were hoping for. As usual from you short-sighted idiots. She essentially goes on to say abso-fucking-lutely nothing for the next 3 minutes, 4 minutes. It's kind of amusing if you want to go watch it. It's sad and desperate. But aside from that, she does admit in that section that she hasn't really read about this, and all she's read is black feminism, so... poor deluded soul. I mean, taking advice about race from someone that said that they'd only learned about black feminism would be like taking advice about race from someone who'd said I'd only read the Turner Diaries. It's dumb. On that note, wait. Fuck up, did this count as my palate cleanser? Yes, Hagbot. Oh, fuck you, fuck up. Really? This was infuriating. Indeed, Hagbot. Oh, you fucking malfunctioning mechanoid. I swear to God, some days I want to uninstall you. As for the rest of you lovely folks, I hope you enjoyed this little tirade, and I will be back on Wednesday. Enjoy your time.